Hey man, let's be brutally honest. Most men lose before the game even begins. Not because they're unattractive, not because they lack potential, but because they suffocate her with attention. They think texting her all day, calling her constantly, or chasing her endlessly will win her heart. But women aren't drawn to desperation. They're drawn to presence, to calm, to mystery. And every time you over-communicate, you kill the mystery that makes you desirable. That's why the strongest move you can make sometimes is no move at all. No text, no calls, no chasing. That's how you win. Because your silence speaks louder than her games, and your absence pulls harder than your presence ever could. You must understand that attraction thrives in space. When you're always available, always reachable, always responding instantly, you kill the tension that keeps her invested. Women don't want a man who's at their beck and call. They want a man who has a life, a mission, a purpose bigger than them. When she sees that you're not glued to your phone, not waiting for her every word, she feels your value. She realizes she's not the center of your universe, and paradoxically, that makes her want to be, because women chase what they can't fully have, and the moment she feels you're always hers, her attraction begins to fade. That's why silence is power, brother. No texts doesn't mean neglect, it means discipline. It means you stop feeding her dopamine with constant validation. Every time you blow up her phone, you train her to see you as predictable, boring, and desperate. But when you hold back, when you make her wait, when you let her wonder why you're not chasing, you create the emotional space where her mind starts racing. She begins to think about you, replaying moments, wondering where she stands. And that's when attraction builds, not when you're pouring everything out, but when you're giving her just enough to stay curious. Men think love is built through giving more. The truth? It's built through giving less and letting her imagination do the work. The same goes for calls. Men who call constantly signal weakness. They show they have nothing better to do, no higher priorities, no mission worth their time. But the man who doesn't call unnecessarily, who lets her initiate sometimes, who waits before responding, he radiates strength because he's not desperate for her voice. He's centered in his own life, and women feel that energy. They sense the man who is self-sufficient, who doesn't crumble without their presence. That's why silence creates desire. The less you chase, the more she values every bit of attention you do give, because scarcity creates value. And your voice, your words, your time, they only matter when they're not always available. The deeper truth is this: chasing kills respect. A woman may tolerate it, she may even enjoy the validation for a while, but deep down she loses respect for the man who won't stop pursuing. Because if she's the prize and you're the beggar, the dynamic is broken. But when you pull back, when you let her feel your absence, when you let her miss your presence, when you stop rewarding her with endless attention, suddenly the roles reverse. Now she's the one chasing. Now she's the one texting first, calling more, wondering why you're not reaching out. That's the moment you win. Not when you overwhelm her with pursuit, but when you force her to invest. Because in relationships, the one who invests more is always the one who feels more. The truth is, women are addicted to emotional uncertainty. They don't fall in love with clarity. They fall in love with the unknown, with the guessing, with the wondering. And that's why constant texting, calling, and chasing destroys attraction. It gives her all the answers, all the certainty, all the security, before she's even earned it. And when she knows exactly where she stands, her curiosity dies. But when you hold back, when you stay unpredictable, when you stop giving her that endless flow of validation, you force her to lean in. She starts thinking about you when you're not there. She starts wondering if you're slipping away. And that emotional uncertainty is what binds her to you far more than constant reassurance ever could. Silence is not weakness, it's strategy. Every time you don't text, you're not being passive. You're actively creating space for her to feel your absence. Every time you don't call, you're not neglecting her. You're training her to value your voice. Every time you refuse to chase, you're not rejecting her. You're showing her that your world doesn't revolve around her approval. And that's the kind of man women respect. The man who moves with discipline, not desperation. Women want a leader, not a follower. And the man who's always chasing, always reaching, always available, he's not leading, he's following her emotions. That's why holding back is powerful. It reminds her that your energy is a privilege, not a guarantee. Think about this. Every time you stop yourself from texting first, you give her the gift of longing. Longing is the most powerful emotional hook there is. It's what makes her stare at her phone, waiting for your name to pop up. It's what makes her replay your last conversation, wondering if she said the right thing. It's what makes her scroll through your social media, trying to get a glimpse into your world. That longing only exists in silence. If you fill every gap with your words, she never gets the chance to miss you. And women can't love a man they never miss. Love without longing isn't love, it's comfort, and comfort kills desire. The man who doesn't chase becomes the man who is chased. That's the reversal most men never understand. They think pursuit equals strength, when in reality, pursuit equals weakness, because the one who chases always has less value in the dynamic. But when you stop chasing, when you live your life with purpose and allow her to orbit you instead, you flip the script. Suddenly she's investing in you, suddenly she's initiating, suddenly she's competing for your attention instead of taking it for granted. And the more she invests, the more she feels. That's the psychology of it. Humans value what they work for, and the woman who works to win your attention will always value you more than the one you handed it to on a silver platter. Here's the part that will sting at first, but free you forever. When you stop texting, calling, and chasing, you'll lose some women. And that's exactly the point, because the ones who vanish when you stop chasing were never truly interested in you. They were only interested in the attention you provided. Your silence exposes their intentions. It reveals who was there for you and who was there for the validation. And when you lose the ones who never cared, you clear space for the ones who do. That's why this strategy is powerful. It's not just about attraction, it's about filtering. It removes the women who waste your time and leaves only the ones who are genuinely drawn to you. And that, brother, is how you win. When you stop chasing, you reclaim the balance of masculine and feminine energy. Chasing is feminine, it's emotional, reactive, driven by need. Stillness, patience, and discipline are masculine. They're grounded, unshaken, unmoved by fleeting impulses. And women can feel this difference instantly. When you're always texting and calling, you're mirroring her energy instead of holding your own. But when you stay grounded, when you move slowly, when you resist the urge to over-communicate, you become the pole she orbits. You stop playing the emotional game and instead force her into your frame. And that's when the dynamic shifts permanently, because women only respect the man who refuses to play at their level of chaos. One of the biggest lies men believe is that silence will make her forget them. The truth is the opposite. Silence makes her remember you more. Every unanswered text, every call you didn't make, every hour you stayed focused on your mission instead of her, it all creates a vacuum. And the mind hates a vacuum. She fills it with thoughts of you. She replays your words, wonders what you're doing, speculates about your feelings. You don't fade in silence, you grow in her imagination. But if you're always available, always chasing, always filling every silence with words, you rob her of the chance to imagine. And imagination is where desire is born. Think about the women who've left you in the past. Did they leave because you gave them too little attention or too much? Most men smother women with effort, thinking love is built by over-investing. But that over-investment kills attraction. It makes you predictable, boring, replaceable. The women who once begged for your time eventually walked away, not because you didn't love enough, but because you didn't leave space for them to love you back. That's the irony. The less you chase, the more she invests. The more you chase, the quicker she leaves. Every man who's been hurt has felt this truth, but didn't know how to name it. Now you know. The silence of no texts, no calls, no chasing also reveals who you are to yourself. Because it's not really about her, it's about your discipline. Can you sit with discomfort? Can you resist the urge to reach out, even when your emotions scream at you to? Can you trust your value enough to let her come to you? That restraint is a reflection of your strength. Weak men collapse into action at the first sign of fear. They can't handle not knowing where they stand. Strong men embrace the silence, knowing that whatever is meant to come will come, and whatever falls away wasn't real to begin with. That's not arrogance, that's self-respect. The deeper truth is that silence magnifies strength. A man who doesn't chase is a man who has options, who has purpose, who has standards. Women feel that energy. They know instinctively which man is operating from abundance and which man is operating from scarcity. The one who's constantly chasing signals, scarcity, you're the only chance I've got. The one who waits, who observes, who stays calm, he signals abundance. I don't need to rush because I have choices and I am the prize. That energy changes everything. Because women don't respect men who beg for attention, they respect men who command it by refusing to chase. Here's what most men never realize. When you stop chasing, you give her the chance to chase you. And that's not just about ego, it's about balance. Relationships only work when the woman invests. when she puts skin in the game, when she feels the risk of losing you. If you do all the calling, all the texting, all the planning, she never feels that risk. She knows you'll always be there, and she stops valuing your presence. But when you pull back, when you let her initiate, when you let her prove her interest, she feels the weight of her own effort. And once a woman invests in you, she cannot walk away easily. She becomes attached not because you begged for it, but because she earned her place by chasing. Women will test your silence. They'll delay replying to your texts, take longer to call back, or act aloof just to see if you'll panic. Most men fold here. They break discipline, flood her with messages, or call repeatedly just to feel in control again. But the man who wins is the one who doesn't flinch. He doesn't break his silence just because she pulled back. He doesn't try to prove himself just because she created distance. He stays calm, grounded, detached. And eventually, she realizes she's not in control anymore. You are, because the man who doesn't panic when she pulls away is the man she respects most. That calmness is rare, and rare is irresistible. The power of no texts, no calls, no chasing extends beyond dating. It reshapes your entire frame as a man. Because once you master the ability to hold back with women, you realize you can hold back everywhere else too. You stop chasing validation at work, you stop chasing approval from friends, you stop chasing distractions that drain your energy. You become a man who moves only with intention, who refuses to waste effort on things that don't serve his mission. And women feel that shift immediately. They sense when a man is grounded in his discipline, and they're drawn to him, not because he needs them, but because he doesn't. That's real power, brother. Think of how many men you've seen destroyed by overpursuing. They text constantly, they call every day, they beg for her time, and in the beginning, she tolerates it. But slowly, she loses interest. She pulls away. She starts answering later, shorter, colder, and instead of stepping back, he doubles down, he chases harder. That desperation drives her further until she's gone, and the man is left wondering what went wrong, when in reality, the answer was simple. He gave too much, too soon, without making her earn it. That's why silence is essential. It protects you from giving more than she deserves. It ensures her investment matches yours. Without that balance, brother, you're doomed from the start. Here's the brutal truth. The man who chases loses, and the man who waits wins. Not because women don't want attention, but because they don't want control. They want to feel chosen, yes, but they also want to feel they had to earn it. And when you withhold just enough to keep her guessing, when you move slowly instead of rushing, when you let her initiate sometimes, you're creating that balance. You're not starving her of attention, you're giving it in doses that make it valuable. That's why no text, no calls, no chasing works. It flips the frame. Instead of being the man begging for her, you become the man she's trying to win. And brother, the man who positions himself as the prize never loses. When you choose silence over chasing, you force her to reveal her true interest level. If she values you, she will reach out, she will put in effort, she will show up. If she doesn't, she will fade away. And that's the beauty of it. You don't have to argue, beg, or overanalyze. You let her behavior tell you everything you need to know. Men who chase live in confusion, wondering where they stand. Men who stay silent live in clarity, because a woman's effort or lack of it becomes the answer. You no longer waste months guessing her feelings. You know, and that knowing gives you freedom, because you stop investing in women who never intended to invest in you. Another layer of power is that silence creates contrast. When you do finally give her attention, it feels amplified. A simple text, a short call, a moment of effort stands out more, because it's not drowned in endless communication. Think of it like music. Without silence, sound loses its power. Without space, presence loses its meaning. By holding back, you make your attention scarce, and scarcity makes it valuable. Women crave value. They are addicted to it. And when they feel that your words, your time, your presence are not guaranteed, they cling harder, they value more, they chase deeper. That's why silence wins. It sharpens every moment you do choose to give. The hardest part of this strategy is not doing it once, it's doing it consistently. Anyone can hold back for a day, maybe even a week, but true strength is making silence your default frame. Not as a game, not as manipulation, but as discipline. You build a life so full of purpose, so rich in activity, so strong in vision, that chasing a woman becomes laughable. You don't text less because you're trying to trick her. You text less because you're busy building your empire. You don't call less because you're playing games. You call less because you have things to do. That's the difference between boys and men. Boys use silence as a tactic. Men live it as a lifestyle. When you master this, you realize that silence is not empty, it's full. It's full of your presence, your discipline, your focus. It communicates things words never can, that you're in control, that you don't need her validation, that you value yourself above all. And women feel that energy. They feel it in your pauses, in your patience, in your absence. They may not say it, but they know they're dealing with a man who is not ordinary. Because ordinary men chase, ordinary men panic, ordinary men beg, but extraordinary men wait. Extraordinary men hold frame. Extraordinary men let women step into their world instead of begging to be part of hers. And that's why silence separates you from the crowd. So hear me clearly. No texts, no calls, no chasing. That's how you win. Not because silence is magic, but because silence proves strength. It filters the weak from the worthy. It builds respect where desperation would have killed it. It creates mystery where constant communication would have smothered it. It puts you back in control of your time, your energy, and your frame. And above all, it forces her to step into her role, to chase, to invest, to prove, because you are the prize, and a prize is never won by begging, it's earned by effort. So stop flooding her with attention. Stop collapsing into desperation. Stop giving yourself away for free. Stand firm, stay silent, and watch how the world and the women in it shift around you. That, brother, is how you win.